Hello and welcome to On the Rocks, a BRTFC Supporters Club podcast where we discuss all things BRTFC, and I'm your host Liam Goodley. This broadcast and our media team are proudly sponsored by Mitchell's Travel. Mitchell's Travel, not just travel. Book a tailor-made holiday for you and your family with Mitchell's Travel today. Call them on 01243 939 555 or visit their website at themitchells.notjusttravel.com for the latest offers for all. Be sure to quote Rocks 1883 to help the football club in the same process. As your personal travel experts and our official travel partners, be sure to let their friendly team know your needs from your holiday today. Mitchell's Travel is the proud sponsor of On the Rocks. Today on the show, I am joined by a Rock Steward and Bognor fan. Welcome to the one and only Scott Slater. Thanks for joining me, Scott. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Liam. How are you?
Yeah, good. Obviously, a positive start to this pre-season campaign. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Chichester game, and it's been great following this team in pre-season so far, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Chichester was my first game that I've actually managed to get to, so it was actually really nice to watch football again after so long of it without it.
Definitely, and obviously, just to go away from that, a bit of sad news. Obviously, this past week we heard the sad news that Rocks legend Dallas White had passed away. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Rocks captain Harvey White and the family at this sad time. Dallas represented the Rocks in the 80s and was a constant figure, cheering his son on from the terraces in recent times. Any memories for you, Scott, about Dallas, or anything you'd like to say about this legend?
I don't have any memories of him. I only started following the Rocks it must have been about 2014, so fairly newly. But I actually met him players' night, I think last year, and it was just a nice guy to have a chat with and everything like that. And you see the bond between him and Harvey and the love they have for each other was just really nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember him being so proud, obviously, when we lifted the County Cup, Sussex County Cup at Brighton that time, beating Burgess Hill 2-1. Obviously, Harvey's the captain, and I know how proud of him his dad was. So it's a really sad news, and obviously all our thoughts go to his family. And obviously this episode is therefore dedicated into the memory of Rocks legend Dallas White. Thanks for all the efforts, mate, for the Green Army, and thanks for giving us Harvey. We will all miss you. We are talking today after the game against Chichester City, where Rocks ran out 4-2 winners. I thought they gave us our toughest pre-season game yet, with a young side, hard-working, and a spirited display from the hosts. But what did you think overall about the game, Scott? What was your thoughts?
Do you know what? I really enjoyed the game, and there's some new prospects of players come through, like the new striker that we had playing. You have to remind me of his name.
Yeah, that was Geordie Mongoy.
Yeah, he seemed really nice and really good.
Yeah, I think he's a real find, and I think I'm not sure if he's going to feature again at Gosport, but for me, he took his goal. Is obviously the third goal he took was well taken and confidently dispatched beyond the goalkeeper. But obviously, let's talk about those goals, Scott. Obviously, a fiercely contested game which saw Alfie Stanley net the first two goals, new trialist, as we say, Geordie Mongoy net the third. And then Will Stone arriving off the bench to put the game to bed on 82 minutes. What was your favourite goal and why?
Do you know what? I want to say the first one because it just came out of nowhere. It was a bit of a scrappy goal, but a goal's a goal. But no, it was, I think, the first one where it just come out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah, it's a strange one because it sort of, I think they sort of went across the defenders, and I think we thought initially it was Geordie Mongoy's goal, but we were told profusely from other fans that it was Alfie Stanley's goal. I think it took a deflection off of Mongoy and sort of flew up nicely into the top right corner. And we were up in the gantry, obviously following it on Rocks Radio, but it was one of those goals where we thought it was one player and it wasn't. It was the other player. So we obviously our apologies to Alfie Stanley, who scored a brace of goals obviously at Chichester, who I thought again another player that stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, all the pre-season players look very strong this year. And I suppose it's nice coming towards the start of the season to actually have almost the players that we needed last season. So hopefully we can challenge sort of up the top this season and sort of reach the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's the goal, isn't it? I think definitely. And looking at Chichester's side, actually, I thought they were. I think they're going to have a good season. The young players that they've got there, closing us down quickly and putting pressure on our defence. I thought, Chichester have a good season ahead. And I heard that they've got a few injuries out as well at the moment. So it's looking positive for Chai. But there was a worrying moment off the ball, Scott, for the returning goalkeeper Amadou Tangara, who went to ground holding his hamstring. But he assured me after the game that it was just a twinge. But how good was it to see our number one goalkeeper back for you, Scott? He's an important character in the dressing room, in my view. What are your views on Tangara?
Do you know what? He's an all-round nice guy. I think he really loves the club. He's only been with us. Is he just under a season now?
Yeah, about a season, isn't it? Or just under.
But he seems to enjoy the club and the team enjoy him. And it's just nice having someone a bit more vocal in the goalkeeper's position.
Yeah, and he's certainly apparently he's sort of a very good motivator in the dressing room, and also he's obviously he loves it when we win, which is great. And I'm hoping that this twinge of the hamstring is not going to be too much of a problem with him going forward. Obviously, it's his first game back, so you can understand he's not going to be 100% fit. Obviously, just coming back from his home country, so. We're hoping that he'll be back to full fitness, come the beginning of the season. I'm not sure if he'll play at Gosport Borough. Hopefully, he will be able to. But what would you say? Who would you say was your man of the match at Chichester City, Scott?
Do you know what? I like the whole squad. So for me, I probably would give it to the new striker.
Oh, Mongoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought he played well. We gave it to Harvey White as the man of the match on Rocks Radio, but I'd say that, yeah, I'd say Mongoy had a great match as well. And when you look at the new players, Scott, obviously we've got Mongoy, Stanley, Ian Taggart from Pompey, Carl Clinton, and George Britton all started. That was their first game for the Rocks. What did you feel about their performances on the night? All new faces, of course.
I think for being their first game as well, they seem to have settled in quite well. And I think that's the true spirit of the club that we all love, and how you are sort of all part of almost a family.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they feel. They feel settled in. And it's a credit really for like Robbie and Jack, and especially Kenneth Wood. I'll give him a mention, the old scout Ken Wood,
Yeah.
bringing the players in. But they find them from somewhere, and they all seem to be gelling this year, which is really nice.
And I know a lot of the players that we've mentioned, that I mentioned just there, obviously Taggart, obviously from Pompey, and a few other players that we've got, and we've really got a good relationship with Portsmouth just down the road. And obviously to confirm, obviously Jason Parrish, Ethan Robb, Alfie Liss, Michael Baker, and Ben Mendoza have all signed during pre-season training. Most recently, with apparently more to commit in due course. What do you think about these recent signings, Scott?
Do you know what? Just it's another credit as well, going back to Jack and Robbie, bringing them in, because we have got such a small budget for players' wages. There's no hiding that fact. But to bring sort of players of that quality as well into the club, which is really nice. And like you say, off the pitch we've got improvements, on the pitch improvements. Looks like they are this year wanting to challenge for promotion.
Yeah, definitely. And
really
I think
nice.
the signings, okay, some of them are making a bit of a jump up the leagues. So like Jason Parrish is one example, Alfie Liss as well from Horndean. But they really are really put their names in the hat, I think, to get that. They were well-deserved signings. Another one that stood out for me in pre-season so far is Will Stone, who's scored quite a few goals already. And, he's putting his name in the hat. And I think they're giving him one more game, maybe this week. In training, we'll hear more signings. I'm not sure, but hopefully we're going to tie some more players down, because I think we're going to need at least 18 players in that squad. Maybe a lot of the other teams are getting 21 players. So I think a big squad is very important this season, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I suppose with having such a long break as well, fitness is not going to be ideal where it should be. And that's something we're going to have to work on, into fitness as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure Neil Cockcroft and the team will we'll get working on the players. Obviously, news about the new sponsors in our annual draw. Just this past week, Rocks supporter Gordon Lawson won the main prize of shirt sponsorship of the first team for the new season and immediately donated it to the Appledram Centre, an independent registered charity which has delivered services in Chichester and surrounding area for 30 years. Now the club's kit manufacturers are printing the home and away jerseys depicting the charity's colourful logo to replace last season's sponsor Reynolds. The Appledram Centre's services include a dedicated day centre offering meaningful and enterprising daytime occupational activities such as horticultural, both on and off-site, woodwork, cookery and arts and crafts. They also support a number of people in the Chichester area to live independently in their own tenancies and run a community outreach service, Hub Club, 3 times a week in central Chichester. Welcome on board Appledram Centre. Scott, it's great that we have a charity organisation as our main sponsors. I know we had Chestnut Tree House not too long ago, a few seasons back, and it seems like they do great work and it will be a great partnership, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. With charities, the budget they have is such small, so actually any sort of like advertisement is amazing for any charity. So I'm absolutely 100% sure that they're really appreciating being the sponsor of the shirts this year, just the name as well.
Yeah, and all fair dues to Gordon Lawson, who donated that to Appledram Centre. Obviously, a super fan of the Rocks, and I think it's going to be a great partnership, and I think it's only going to benefit both sides. Obviously, from our point of view, it's all about the PR. It's all about being more engaged with our community. And I think with this, I think we're going to be able to do that. So it's great looking ahead. But it's obviously, as we look forward to Gosport Borough on Saturday, 12th of September, Scott, how do you feel that game will go? I know they have had to cut their playing budget recently due to the pandemic. Of course, last time out, we had 3 sendings offs in pre-season against the Borough, and we lost that game heavily. And for me, it didn't do a lot for our help to our preparation last season. What's your view on this final pre-season fixture?
I think this year, like you say, with them having their like budget sort of cut because of COVID and everything like that, I think it could be a little bit tighter. And the players that we've got in now and everything like that, and I think it's just like you say, it's just another game for the players to gel and fitness and everything. So actually, that'd be good. I reckon it's going to be a tight game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, obviously, I think the sending offs last time heavily affected the game. I think the referee maybe could have been a bit more lenient. I know some of the challenges were flying in. Obviously, a similar level to the Rocks. I think it would be up there with Chichester's game, probably one of our toughest contests in this pre-season calendar. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's what the players need as well. And it's a bit of a challenge for them, which will be nice.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm certainly looking forward to that. And obviously, as many people already know, Scott, you're a regular volunteer steward at Nywood Lane on game days. How did this all start for you, and how is that going for you right now?
Do you know what? I'm really enjoying it, and I have done since day one. I actually approached the club myself. I had a brief sort of move out of Bognor to Waterlooville. I missed the club and I missed the town, and we brought a fish and chip shop, and it failed, so I moved back to Bognor, and depression sort of hit, and I kind of didn't know what to do with myself. I wasn't working at the time and I wasn't able to, and so I spoke to Ian Guppy, supportive club chairman, and said, "Is there anything I can do for the club?" And he said he put me in touch with Phil Westwood.
Oh yeah, Blobby.
He said to me, "Blobby, that's it." He goes, "Come down." He goes, "Come down on Saturday and have a look." And I've already been a fan for the Rocks for a few years. So I come down, I did one game and really enjoyed myself. And so I've never really looked back since.
So how many years have you been doing this role at the club now, Scott?
I would have said it's about 2.5, coming 3 years now. So not overly long, but I feel like I've fitted in really well with the team and it's really nice.
They're all characters, aren't they? We've got AD, obviously Blobby, and a few others. I think Nathan is as well. So there's a real mix of characters there, isn't there?
Well, that's it, yeah. And I've literally just started, thanks to Nathan, I've just started full-time work again. So yeah, Nathan spoke to me about coming to work at Morrison's with him,
Yeah.
and so I've just started literally 4 weeks ago at Morrison's as full-time fishmonger. But it works out really well the football because Nathan knows I steward, so he sorted it so that Saturdays I can still be at football, and Tuesday nights I finish at 7, and I can still get to football. So I still get my football fix, and nice to be back at work.
That's great. So that keeps you busy, obviously, during the time when you're not watching the football. But what would you say you enjoy most about the role as a steward at the club?
I think it's being part of the club again. I fell in love with the club about 2014. That was my first game, and at the time I worked at Tesco's, and I was talking to Goldie, Adam Goldrum, and he just said to me one day, "Why don't you come down to Bognor?" And I come down for one match. Absolutely loved the home match. Decided that on the Saturday the next week I was going to jump on the train with the guys, and that was Hayes and Yedden away.
Okay, was that your first game?
That was my first away game.
Oh, okay.
And I think we lost 2-1 or 3-1, but it just didn't put a dampen on the day at all. I really enjoyed it, and then since then I've been hooked.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great story, Scott, and it's great that you're now heavily involved with the club. And I know with running the scoreboard at Nywood Lane, that I have to get there fairly early to prepare. But I know the stewards must do the same and are always there ahead of me, of course. What time do you usually have to get to the ground before kick-off?
They like us to be there sort of about 2 o'clock, but it's normally me and Chris Hill. Normally we get there about sort of like 12:15, 12:30.
Yeah. And usually when you come in at that time, what's the first thing that you have to sort of think about when you come into steward for a game? I'm always interested in finding out what different people's roles at the club, and I think it's interesting. Everybody's got their own responsibilities, and they just get on and do it. But what's the first thing you have to do when you first get into the ground?
If all honesty, the first thing I do is put the kettle on and make a cup of coffee.
Very important.
That is, and then we go and check the first aid room to make sure that's all clear and tidy and clean, so it's ready if we need it. And then it's normally just getting sort of jackets on, radios on, checking they work, and then just being around for the fans and just enjoying the game, as well as making sure like the fans are safe and everything like that.
It all sounds great, Scott. And I've always wondered this for stewards. I don't know if I'd like to do the job, because obviously you do get some difficult customers. Obviously, coming through the door, sometimes they might have had a few drinks. Is it sometimes difficult to control these fans sometimes?
Sometimes it can be, but I think where we work so closely with each other and we get on so well that we know each other's got our backs. So actually, if you need help, you know that someone's not far away.
That's great to know that you're all sort of looking out for each other. I know you're all mic'd up as well. You're communicating with the old radios as well, so we all know what's happening. And I know Richard gets a lot of notices if there's anything happening, and we're all kept in the know, which is great. And just before we finish this episode, Scott, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the Speak Up campaign. Being involved in the club has helped you with your mental health. Could you go into that for me, and how the club has helped you recently?
I just think it's such a great thing. I think mental health within the male population is not talked enough about, everything like that. And I think it's just amazing that all the tears in the footballer seem to get in behind it. And just for me, really, it was a release for me. The football was a break from everyday life and worrying about your bills or what's going on next in your life. And it was just, for me, I think it's such a great thing to be involved in now with the club.
Yeah, it gives you a purpose, doesn't it, being involved in the club?
Oh, absolutely. And if it wasn't for the club, then I have no idea where I'd be now, because it gave me something to do. I look forward to my Saturdays. I look forward to my Tuesday nights down the lane, even in the winter when it's freezing cold. there's nothing better than Norwood Lane at night.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of that, I know it's very, very poignant at the moment with mental health. Obviously, the COVID-19 hasn't really helped anybody really with this. Everybody having to be cooped up at home a lot of the time and not being able to do the things that they'd usually do. But obviously now fans are allowed back into games, and I think it's a real gift to everybody at the moment because they just want to get out and do and socialise and see people.
That's it, and it's going to help the clubs as well. Like you say with Gospel Borough earlier on about financially, because they've not had fans through the ground for so long. Financially, every club's struggling. But we are fortunate with Jack that he has good control of the finances at Bognor Football Club, and so we're fortunate enough not to be struggling financially, but we're not comfortable, if that makes sense.
No, that's right, and I know he gets a lot of stick, but Jack has kept the club afloat for many years now. And when you look at this brand new stand and a new building works going on at the club, Scott, have you been down to have a look, and what do you think about it all?
Oh, I definitely have. The stand looks amazing, and all the groundwork looks really nice, and it's a credit to the fans, and like £50,000 to raise to put towards that in a matter of was it 12 weeks? Not even that.
Yeah, it was very quickly went over 40,000, and it sort of very quickly then crept up to over. I think David spoke to David Robinson recently, and it's actually still rising. It's over 53,000 now. So we've done really well. It's not only people within obviously with the Bognor fans, but there's also ex-players, people not even associated with the club giving to the cause. So it's been really well supported, and I think it's really positive signs for our future.
Absolutely. I think that's a credit to the club as well for how it is like a family club. And it's like people go, so like I was talking to someone the other day, and it was like their dad used to play for Bognor. Now they go and watch Bognor. And I think it was your grandfather that used to play for Bognor?
That's right. He didn't play. We used to go together. So up until 2012 when he passed away, we've been going. Well, I continued to go down, but it was our thing, Every time, all we'd speak about was Bognor Regis Town Football Club and the Rocks. And every time we used to part or he used to drop me off or whatever, I'd say up the Rocks and he'd say up the Rocks. So that was our bond, really. It was Bognor Regis Town Football Club. But yeah, he was mad on Bognor. And that's probably why I continue to support the club today. I don't really support any other teams further up the pyramid. I kind of watch from afar Pompey, but I don't really follow any other team. Bognor is my only team really, and I was obviously really pleased. Obviously, the draw. I got the match ball, won the match ball sponsorship for this season. I'm not sure what game yet, but that was good as well. And yeah, it's a real family feel at the club, and that's why because obviously we used to go to other games like Arundel and Wick and Littlehampton and various other clubs in the locality. Obviously not big club, but smaller clubs. But when we came to Bognor, I remember we won 7-0. But that was we always get the team wrong. We thought it was Chesham United, but I was told by Stato Rob Garforth that it wasn't. It was some other team. So we've always had it wrong. We always just say, well, the first game was 7-0 at home at Norwood Lane against Chesham, but it wasn't. It was some other team. So I have to try and find out who that was, because it was probably back end of the 90s is when it started going down. But it's a great family feel to the club, and that I think the friendly atmosphere was what made us come back again and again and again. It seems like a similar sort of situation for you.
Oh, absolutely. You talk about ex-players and how they love the club. It's like someone was talking to Stuart Green's dad the other day, and he was saying that how Stuart misses the club, and I think it wasn't for family commitments and everything like that, he would still be at the Rocks. And that is just a credit to the club as well, and how little budget we have, but it's such a big sort of hearted team and a family club.
Definitely, and just a reminder for Rocks fans that there will be a supporters coach going to the Bishop Stortford game on Saturday 19th of September, leaving Norwood Lane at 10:30 a.m. So please get in touch with David Robinson, as there are limited spaces left if you're interested. Masks must be worn on the coach due to COVID rules, but don't let that put you off. we hope to see as many of you at home and away games this season. Are you looking to go to any away games this season, Scott? I know you're busy with work and things, but are you planning on going to any away games this year?
I think there's always one that I really want to go to is the Worthing game. I think just being the local rivals and everything like that. So that's one I think I might pencil in.
Yeah, definitely. The El Clasico is always a big game, and either there or at Norwood Lane. And obviously the game, obviously the fans always a bit banter at the moment about obviously last season that never was. You know, they beat us twice 3-0, and it didn't happen for them. And obviously, if we were in their position, I'm sure we'd be a bit aggrieved, obviously, of being the top of the league and then have the league null and voided. So we're looking forward to that. And I think the big thing about Worthing being in our league is that it's a big payoff for both teams. You know, the gate money and the amount used in the bar and the food and drink sales and everything else. It's going to be a big year for the Rocks, and I think the Worthing game it always is. And having Lewis also in the same league, and obviously Horsham spending so much money this year, I think they're going to be up there as well. So it's going to be a really exciting season ahead.
Oh, absolutely, it will be. And it's one of those ones I can't wait for it to start. I know the first home game was it. I'm correct, the 3rd of October.
That's right. Bowers and Pitsea is our first home game on Saturday, the 3rd of October. As it stands at the moment, I don't know with cup games and things. I don't know how it all plans out, but yeah, at the moment it's 3rd of October. That's Bowers and Pitsea at 3 o'clock at Norwood Lane. That's our first home game. The 3 away games initially, obviously Bishop Stortford away on the 19th. Then we've got Haringey Borough week after that, and then the Tuesday after that, I think it's Horsham away. So it's going to be interesting. And first 3 games away is always going to be difficult. Get a point away from home and get your wins at home is always hopefully the pattern that they'll follow. And what do you expect for this season, Scott? Do you reckon playoffs is a good aim?
I would like to finish playoff positions. Obviously, being a Rock fan, I'd like to take top of the league, but I think playoffs is sort of where I'd like to see us go.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always never seen us do is actually win as I've seen us go up as playoff winners or second place. I don't think I've ever seen us win as champions of the league. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to see it in my lifetime. Hope that's not too much to ask, but hopefully, looking at this young squad, Scott, I think we've really got a chance. As long as we, as I say that, we've got a lot of injuries already, but when these injuries, obviously these players come back, and likes of Chadfield and Jason Parrish and James Crane, obviously missing the last game, all come back. We've got a real squad there that can make contention for that playoff space, that playoff place. And I think it's only a matter of time before we get to that pit. We've got a new stand to be proud of. That hundreds and hundreds of people coming in, hopefully through the door after these COVID rules, relax. And I'm looking forward to the new season ahead.
Oh, absolutely, and it'd be really nice. It's nice to have Jamie Howell back, and I know he's not back with the first team, but he's back with the youth setup at Bognor, which is really nice to see him back at Bognor.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really pleased to see him back. He's very passionate about youth football in the area, and I think he's got good knowledge of the youngsters in the area. And now with the link with his All-Star Soccer West Sussex junior team, hopefully that's going to obviously filter through to our 31. I've been told 31 youth teams we've got in this area under the Bognor banner, the Pebbles banner, and it's really positive. So the future is bright for Bognor.
The future's green and white, hopefully.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. So a big thank you to Rock steward and fan Scott Slater for being my guest today. And be sure to say hi to him at future games at the Lane, keeping everyone under control. If you would like to get your say in an upcoming episode of On the Rocks, then please contact me on Twitter at Liam Goodley. Again, visit our media and travel partners Mitchell's Travel at the Mitchell's notjusttravel.com or call 01243 939 555 to find out more about their services today. And don't forget to quote Rocks 1883 whilst getting a great deal. This has been an On the Rocks podcast production brought to you by the BRTFC Supporters Club. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Up the Rocks.